Hey everyone, it's Luca. Today is Wednesday, August 24th, and that means I am about 8.5 months on T. As you can hear, maybe from my last video, my voice has gotten just a little bit deeper. I often will revert back to talking from kind of a higher register, um, such as what I'm doing right now. But I'm trying to remember to kind of speak from my chest. And that's what I'm sounding like. I mean, I definitely get mammed every day on the phone still. Um, my job is that I'm a social worker, so I'm on the phone a lot. I'm a social worker for folks who are on an inpatient unit. I I do a lot of going back and forth. This YouTube vlog is kind of the only format I'm active on the internet right now. I used to have like a live journal account that I would update, but um, I don't really have time to do that. For some reason, I mean, for one, I don't really have time to, or I think I don't have time, or I don't make time, or a priority to update this vlog, but for some reason it feels easier to be able to talk at my computer versus sitting down and writing a journal entry. Um, in any case, that is a tangent. Um, but I've been struggling a lot, this being the one venue that I do update on. I've been struggling with whether or not to talk about my job, because that is it's my job, and I need money, and I need to keep my job because that is where the money comes from. Um, but it's also a huge part it plays a huge part in my transition. It is a huge factor in my life right now. I work at a place, I'm just gonna not name the name, but I work at a place, an inpatient unit, that is supposed to be um, an LGBT inpatient unit, or a unit that specializes in the care of LGBT individuals. I, prior to working at this position, was working as an outpatient therapist. So basically just a therapist people come and see once a week. And I really liked that work, and I feel really well suited to that work, and I really miss that work. Um, but I didn't feel strong enough to come out to 40 of my patients and their families and all of my coworkers, in addition to my family and friends and stuff. So, I basically put out to the world, like, hey, does anybody know of any trans affirming or trans friendly employment? And I was I was steered towards my job, my current job. I applied for the position of social worker at this place, and I got the position. So I put in my notice at my last job, and I started this position January 1st, a month after I began hormones in December. And basically, it's not at all what I expected. I expected not necessarily everyone who worked there to be queer, but a lot of people who work there to be queer, which is not the case. We are by far the minority. I also expected, if not everyone was queer, everyone would be LGBT, not only friendly, but savvy with it, experienced, learned, like, educated. Um, and that is not the case. The website for my program says that we are LGBT affirming, that we specialize in the care of LGBT individuals. On my unit at any given time, out of 15 patients, 13 might actually not identify. There have been patients who have come up to the unit who have been actively homophobic, and a transfer is usually in place after that to another unit in the hospital. But most of the patients at any given time are not LGBT. Most of the staff and employees are not LGBT. No one in a leadership role, meaning a supervisor, identifies as LGBT. The person who runs the unit does not identify as LGBT. None of the people I just named and positions of leadership are required to have any LGBT training to work there. None of the staff are required to have any LGBT training to work there. From the get-go, I have been misgendered, mispronounced, even when I've corrected people, even when I came to this job, alright, I'm gonna do this clean, like, I'm Luca, I'm trans, not even that, I'm male, but I'm trans too, but, like, male genders, pronouns, like, that's it, and it's been a fucking struggle, so, yeah, it's just been a struggle. It's been really hard. And it's like, yeah, it would be a struggle anywhere. I know. It's going to be a struggle anywhere to transition. But the fact that we're supposed to be this environment, and I came for this environment, and we call ourselves this environment, and that is not the case, is so disheartening, and it's so disappointing, and it's really angering. You know, I feel those emotions in kind of in rotation. Mostly I'm checked out. I mean, a lot of my life, as I've explained here, like, I'm just white-knuckling it until I can put my shit down and start to unpack some stuff, you know? But especially at my job. So, yeah. Today at work, you know, I recently updated about how a patient was kind of transphobic to me. But today at work, not for the first time, my fellow employees were pretty transphobic. I was hanging out in, like, the chart room, where I'm not even gonna name positions, but, basically, as a social worker, I have a patient who's a trans woman and is homeless, and, I'm trying to find her placement, and trans people are often discriminated against in homeless shelters. Homeless shelters are quite often segregated to male and female genders, and it's not okay for someone to say actually identify as male or actually identify as female. Regardless, trans people, people at homeless shelters feel like they should be in a private room. We, in fact, feel like trans people should be in a private room on our LGBT unit. So that being said, you know, there aren't single rooms available. So trans people are put on the bottom of the waiting list, which is discrimination. Which is why they're homeless so often. I've literally had places say, we don't take people like that to me. We don't take people like that, ma'am, to me. It's really hard. It's really hard going through the process I'm going through, and going through that parallel process with my patients, and, like, I just don't know if I can sustain it, you know? So, I mean, basically today I almost walked out. I almost quit. And what happened was I was basically referring this patient to a homeless shelter, and one of my fellow employees said, I'm going down to the cafeteria, does anyone need anything? Another employee said, I need $1,000. And I said, oh yeah, if you find any housing opportunities for this patient, please let me know. And, you know, we were joking. And the employee who asked if we needed anything said, what patient? And I named this trans patient's name. And he kind of rolled his eyes and scoffed. And this other employee said, oh, don't even get him started. And then there was laughter. And then the guy who asked, you know, do we need anything, said, oh yeah, well there was another one up here. And it was, you know, Brad, I'm just going to use a fake name. It was Brad Barbara or something. And, you know, he had a deep voice, and, you know, basically he described this really masculine persona, and then he said, you know, he wanted us to call him her. More laughter. And eventually I was just like, I looked at this guy and I was like, that's not appropriate. And and then there was more laughter. I mean, I can be sarcastic and stuff sometimes, but my face was like, no, that's really not appropriate. And then the conversation just kind of stopped. But like, that was clear and blatant transphobia, like at my workplace, on the LGBT unit, in front of a trans employee. What the fuck, you know? And like, there's so much wrong with that, right? But like, also, that's not the first time that that's happened. And it's just unbearable. Um, I don't know. I don't know. I should write a book or something. I should start writing this stuff down, but maybe I'm going to start vlogging more about it. So, I don't really know where I'm going to go from here. You know, the other thing is like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't be putting myself in this situation. Maybe I should be doing more of the work that I like. Less case management, more, you know, therapy, which I love doing. But on the other hand, like, I'm still not passing, and I'm gonna have to do like this whole thing somewhere else. And do I want to do that? I don't know. I don't know. So I would take any advice on this at all, and I'm sure I'll update more later.